Hey everybody, Kim from Dreammakers Farms. Today we are going to be making a butternut squash soup. I have 3 butternut squashes that are all about this size. They're the average size. So we're going to peel these down and we're going to roast them in the oven for about an hour. And then we'll come back and we will actually make the soup. For the soup, you're going to need about 5 pounds of butternut squash. So 3 of these is good. You're also going to need about 12 cups of chicken stock, or you can use vegetable stock if you want it completely vegetarian. And then you're going to need a medium onion and butter and cinnamon, and that is it. So we are going to peel this down. There's honestly no easy way to peel down. Don't mind my little scrap bucket there. There's really no easy way to peel down a butternut squash soup or butternut squash. Believe me, I have tried. There are tips that you can put them in the microwave to soften them, but I have found just a plain old vegetable peeler works. This is just one with a veggie scrubber on the end, and I just peel off the skin on the outside. There are different ways you can roast your squash before it goes in your soup. I have cut them in half and just thrown them in the oven and roasted them for an hour. And then I scoop out the inside into my stock pot. That works. I find that it's a little more unmanageable because it's hot. And then you've got to let it cool for a while, and once your squash has been in the oven for an hour, it takes a while to cool, so it's just not quite as manageable. So I just use the peeler and I peel my squash. Is it labor intensive? A little bit. Is it a pain in the ass? Absolutely. Pardon my language, but you know, we tell it like it is around here, and this is a pain. Not gonna lie. So you want to get all your bits of skin off all the way around your whole squash. They peel easy, but it's just a pain because of the shape that they are. And once the skin is off, they are slippery little devils. That's for sure. You want to have a good grip, and you usually want to have to wipe your hands off pretty often. I've already gotten one done, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to cut my ends off. I'll wipe my hands off here. They're slippery little buggers for sure. You want to cut your ends off. Those are a nice pretty orange inside. Now, butternut squash is one of the hardest squashes to work with, in my opinion. They're just a hard squash on the inside. Make sure I got all my skin off. Now you want to remember your bulbous end is going to have your seeds in it. So you can cut it however you want to get into it. They said they are hard squash to cut, and now my knife is stuck. Of course it is. I'm making a video. You know, these things only happen to me. This is a hard squash. There we go. All right, so your seeds are going to be in this end, of course, the round end. And the best way to get the seeds out is honestly not scoop with a spoon in the beginning, but to cut them out because they're in there pretty good. So if you just run your knife around where they are, and then scoop them out with your hand, it's a lot easier to get them out that way. And a little bit of pulp left in your soup is absolutely fine. You just want to get all your seeds out. There we go. I've got all the seeds out of that one. So we just want to cut our squash down. Seeds off my knife. We just want to cut our squash down into chunks. Are you cringing when I'm using my knife? Because I'm cringing when I use my knife sometimes. So we just want to get our squash without seeds cut down into chunks so that it will roast faster and a little more evenly. So we just want chunks like this, and you're just going to throw them on. You can see I've already done one squash. Well, you can't see, can you? I've already got one squash done, and I'm going to finish up this squash and not make you nervous, but just make myself nervous with my cutting. So I'm going to finish up this squash and then do my third squash. And then we're going to throw these pans. I'll show you what we're going to do. We're going to just use, I just use butter flavored spray. And I'm just going to spray all my squash down with the butter flavored spray. And then sprinkle some salt and pepper on them. So you just want to sprinkle some salt and sprinkle some pepper all over your squash. And then throw them in the oven for an hour. And just let them roast up. And then after that hour, we will come back and I will show you how to put your soup together. So these are getting ready to go in the oven. I haven't put them in yet. I just finished cutting everything up, but I just wanted to show you I've got 2 full cookie sheets. And like I said before, we're just gonna spray them with just a butter flavored spray rather than coat them with a ton of butter. So we'll just give them all a light spray. And then we're just going to just regular pepper from your pepper shaker. Just want to get some pepper on all of them, and this will just be for flavoring. And just basic table salt. And we will check back in an hour and get everything going. Okay, so it's been about an hour and our squash is about done roasting in the oven. I have chopped up a medium onion and I have put it in our sauce, or our stock pot actually. And I am letting that simmer up with 2 tablespoons of butter. So we've got the medium onion and 2 tablespoons of butter. You can use vegetable oil or olive oil to simmer up your butter if you prefer, if you want to go with a dairy-free option. So that makes it, if you use vegetable stock and vegetable oil or olive oil, I believe that makes it vegan, right? I'm not up on all of those things, but I think that's right. So if you use vegetable stock and vegetable oil or olive oil, that makes this vegan. So we're just letting our onions get soft in here in our butter. And then we are going to pull our squash out of the oven. I'm going to do that now. We've got 2 pans here. Do our first pan here. We are just going to put it all right in our pot with our onion. And I have this just on a medium heat right now. So you can see how nice the squash is. Just roast it just a little bit, just to soften it up some. We're just going to throw all the squash in there. You could probably dump the pan, but I would make a mess. And as we know, you get one shot when you're filming cooking. And I am known to make messes, but that's why we keep it real around here, because you get one shot. And I just dropped one right into my burner, because of course I did. Timing is a funny thing when you're cooking. It's not like you can go back and get a do-over, because it is what it is. But I figure I give you guys enough of a chance to laugh at me, which is why you're never going to watch me peel onions when I cook. Because you don't need to watch me fry on film while peeling onions. Just going to get all this squashed in here. It looks fantastic. Smells delicious. I do wish there was smell-o-vision. Smells so good. Okay, so that is all of the squash. Hands out of my way. I'm going to use my mix and mash and just stir everything up. And turn this down to a low heat. I'm just going to combine all the squash and the onions together. Mash the squash down a little bit. Now you're going to want either a blender that you can use to puree or an immersion blender for this, because you're going to blend everything down so that it does become a liquid. Now that we're blended, we are going to add a tablespoon of cinnamon to the mix. So 1 tablespoon of just ground cinnamon into the mix. You are just going to want to keep stirring all of that in. And when you can really smell that cinnamon, you get a really fragrant cinnamon smell, overpowering, you're going to want to start to add your stock. Now you can use chicken stock, like I said, I just use generic chicken stock, or you can use the vegetable stock. I prefer the chicken stock. I think it adds a little bit better of a flavor, but it's purely to taste, whichever you prefer. If you want to do the vegetarian or the vegan, like I said, you can definitely use the vegetable. So we're going to add 12 cups of this, which one of these containers is 4 cups. So 3 containers. And we're going to bring this back up to medium-high heat. And we want to bring this to a boil and let it boil for just a couple minutes. Get all these flavors melded together. Just want to kind of mash your squash down and get all these flavors all melded together. So we're going to bring this up to a boil and let it boil for 3 or 4 minutes, and then we will be back to blend the squash down. So everything's at a nice boil now, and you can see the squash is really starting to soften up, which is what we want it to do. So now we're just going to turn down the heat to low, all the way down, and we're just going to take our immersion blender, or if you have a regular blender, you just want to scoop not a lot in at a time, obviously, because it's hot and it's going to warm up your blender really fast, and if it bubbles over, you want to be really careful. So we just want to puree everything in the pot. So you're going to want to make sure you get all your chunks out, obviously. You can see it's really nice and thin here. You just want to keep running your blender until you make sure you get all the chunks out. All that onion will puree down, all of your squash will puree down, and it is ready to serve. I love to freeze this. Last year I made probably 4 or 5 pots of this and froze it all. I'm going to turn this off now. This pot is going in the freezer. So that's going to go in the freezer for us. I get these containers. I've showed these to you before in my stuffed pepper soup recipe. I get these containers off of Amazon. They're fantastic for going in the freezer. They're just like takeout containers, and they have the lids that go with them. The one tip is do not microwave the lids. The lids will melt, but you can write on the lids with Sharpie, and these are absolutely reusable. You can throw the cup itself in the dishwasher. Do not put the lids in the dishwasher, and do not put the lids in the microwave because they melt. But if you write on them what the contents are with Sharpie, it scrubs right off with a scrubby. So you can reuse these over and over and over again. I made about 5-6 pots of this last winter for hubby for lunches. He's got one left. I just pulled this out of the freezer now to show you. This is squash soup from last year. It freezes fantastically. Like 6 minutes in the microwave and with the lid off, and it is ready to go. We love this in the winter. If we've been out hunting, we come in and we pop these in the microwave while we're pulling all our stuff off, and then it is ready to eat. It's absolutely fantastic. So that is butternut squash soup. Really easy to make. The most time-consuming part of the whole process is roasting your squash for that hour in the oven and peeling the squash. Other than that, once you get everything in the pot, it's really quick and easy. So I hope you enjoy it, and have a great day. If you do like this recipe, be sure to click like and subscribe below to follow along for more. Thanks, and have a great day.